Sometimes the bravest thing that you can possibly do is to send the text, to make the call, to hit post. And you may be asked to do just that with this week's Mercury Cazimi and Gemini New Moon. But it's not just your mouth that is moving. It's not just your mind that is racing. It's not just your fingers that are tapping. With Venus conjoining Chiron this week, your heart is communicating too. Hi all, my name is Haley Comet. This is Magic Monday, your weekly astrological forecast all around what's happening in the sky above you, but how it is that you can leverage these celestial energies in order to make magic here on planet Earth, around you and within you. I'm here every single week in my cosmic corner of the internet, but this week we're discussing everything you need to know about the astrology from May 26th until June 1st, 2025, and how to align yourself with these energies to experience more flow and alignment within your week, as well as to grab hold of some of these opportune energies. And opportune energies this week, there are many, because the main character of our forecast is Mercury. And Mercury is quite a busy planet. And so your thoughts could be buzzing. Your email inbox can be filling up. Your DMs could be filled. Your group chat could be blowing up. Your thoughts could be running overdrive, which definitely has a downside. We'll get into the more nervous, antsy, all over the place side of Mercury in a moment. But let's firstly discuss the magic of Mercury. And I do mean magic. If you read tarot, you know that the Magician card in tarot corresponds to Mercury, which makes so much sense. The planet of thought processes and communication. Words are magic. The way that we can transport people into different realities using our words, the way we can open up a new perspective just by linking someone to certain information, the way that a whole new world can open up to us just by learning new information and material, the way that we can take an idea within and conjure something out of nothing with the wand in hand are going to make into something real and tangible. Voila. Of course, we know it's a little bit more challenging than that to take thoughts and turn them into things, but believe in your own magic. Believe in the magic around just living your day-to-day life and having a thought, an idea, or a conversation or a piece of information told to you that allows things to open up. And so there's an invitation this week to be open to new visions, to new ideas, to new stimuli, to new social events, to new connections. Because sometimes as we are opening ourselves up to new stimuli, that's the space that we can download, that we can channel, that new visions or perspectives give us a new lens on life. And there's an invitation to be open to that. It's Gemini season after all. But there is something bittersweet about this week. I wish I could say that it's all just the Magician card and, conjuring and manifesting and envisioning and collaborating and brainstorming. Absolutely, that can be part of your week, but there is a bittersweet quality to this week. Firstly, we do have Venus conjunct Chiron over the weekend, which can be very painful. It can really dig into our heart space, dig into our self-esteem, dig into our financial reality, and just make us feel like we are bleeding, like we are hurting, right, with the energy of Chiron, because it cuts deep with the energy of Chiron. It's kind of like one of those innocuous injuries. When you get a paper cut and it's so small, but it hurts so badly, you're like, you have no business to hurt this badly. Or like when you hit your funny bone, or like the injury that's sustained seems so minor, but yet the pain stings, hurts, creates that wincing sensation. And there might be parts of that this week, whether you feel that within your love life, your finances, your beauty, your values. The energy of Chiron, there can be something that maybe seems minor on the surface, but it cuts deeper than maybe you would even allow people to necessarily see. When we're navigating Gemini season, this is kind of that trickster energy, right? That jokester energy. Gemini season is the twins, so we are navigating a season that does have a lot to deal with duality, and something could be funny, right? Hitting your funny bone, spilling your coffee, and me being dramatic every time. Something can be funny, like hitting your funny bone, but still be painful. Something can be minor, like a paper cut that you got when you were reading, but still bleed quite a bit. you can laugh something off in the moment and still feel that wince within. We're navigating these dualities. And even though the Gemini new moon is pregnant with possibility and new visions and new ideas, it trines Pluto, which yes, is around I'm growing within new directions, I'm evolving, I'm transforming, but the closer I get to where it is that I'm evolving to, the further and further I depart from what I knew and who I was. And to grow means to outgrow. So sometimes there is that grieving process as it relates to your moving forward towards new visions and new ideas and thus new sides of yourself. So we will dive deeply into this astrology, how it is that you can celebrate the new moon in Gemini, what it is that you should look out for around your love life and your finances with the Venus Chiron alignment, how to activate all of this mercurial magic. We'll break it all down as we always do. But before that, in order to keep up with this quick Gemini energy, we're gonna need a little bit of caffeine, or at least I am. So take a step inside my cosmic cafe of the internet. Let me know what you are sipping on to start your week. I am drinking this white chocolate strawberry coffee. Thoughts. My mind at first, I was like, strawberry coffee? It just like was not computing in my brain, but I was still intrigued, you know? It's good. It's unusual for sure. I don't think it'll be part of my usual repertoire. We're a long-lasting celestial special here in the Cosmic Cafe. We love the duality of the white chocolate and the strawberry, mirroring the Gemini energy and the duality there. But I would love to hear, what vibe are you conjuring and calling in this summertime? I consider Memorial Day as kind of like our transition into summertime, even though from an astrological perspective, summer does not officially begin until the sun ingresses into Cancer, which occurs next month. But I love that we have this new moon right on Memorial Day. It really feels like this energy around what is it that we're calling in for the season. So I'd love to know, what are you calling in for the season? What's your vision? What are you contemplating and bringing in? And something I want to say about Gemini energy is that it doesn't need to be this big thing. Like, if anything, what Jupiter in Gemini has taught me and shown me is just the magic that can show up within the little things. A small conversation here, a fun fact learned here, a book I read here, something that made me laugh here. Like things that just add a little bit more magic within your universe, even if it's not this grandiose trip or this huge life event, just those little things that add a little bit more meaning into your day and into your life. And not looking around as though my purpose is meant to be this whole big thing out there, but really like witnessing the way that my purpose is alive within what I do within my community, and being kind to my neighbors and being able to connect and communicate with you all. Jupiter in Gemini is obviously not dignified as a placement, and I am looking forward to Jupiter entering its exaltation next month. But I've just been thinking a lot about the potency that can show up within these small micro interactions, or just these small parts of our day-to-day. But regardless, with all of that being said, essentially I share that just to say that you don't need to manifest some sort of huge life change with this Gemini new moon, or call in something major. It could be like calling in a hobby, calling in an intrinsic goal, calling in reconnecting to reading. Like for me, okay, so this is my summer vibe list, or what it is that I'm calling in this summertime with this Gemini new moon. I have a personal goal. I realize that I don't set a lot of personal goals. Like typically the goals that I set are very like rooted in productivity and efficiency. Like I'll set business goals, I'll set fitness goals, I'll set learning goals. But I've never set a goal around, this is something that I'm calling in purely for the sake of inviting more joy and play and fun into my day-to-day. Of course, I do enjoy fitness and learning and business and all of those things, but I've never really like set a goal that's purely for the sake of enjoying myself. Like it really does not better anything else within my life. And my goal this summer, and hold me to this guys if I'm not on this, but my goal this summer is to go to the beach every single week. To go to the beach every single week. I live in San Diego, so it's really not that hard to get to the beach. It's actually very close to me, and I just don't go as much as I should. Every time I'm there, I'm just like the happiest version of myself. You may know I'm a Pisces, so I am part mermaid, okay? I don't make the rules. Okay, I just am. But it just makes me so happy. And like, why am I not setting goals around the things that just make me happy? It's really not that dramatic. I like to try to like wrap up work at like 5 p.m. and try to see a sunset at least once a week, or grab my coffee and drink it on the beach at least once a week. So that's my goal this summer, is to be at the beach at least once a week. Also, get this, like literally pinch me. I feel like I'm dreaming. It's such a dream come true, even though it's very minor and very small. But I'm telling you, Gemini season is all around honoring the little things in your life, the little things that give you joy. That's where the magic can be found. And this summer, I am now the proud owner of an unlimited membership to a yoga and Pilates studio right by me, which feels so luxurious. But the stars aligned. Like typically that is not something that I would ever splurge on. I am a ClassPass girly and I hoard those ClassPass credits with my life, and I'm able to get like 4 or 5 classes a month out of it, and it's like the sweetest part of my week. But it just so happened that that studio near me is amazing. Just tried it for the first time, and they were doing a deal, plus I had a gift card to there. Like things just orchestrated in such a way that I'm trying to be there breakfast, lunch, and dinner, aka vinyasa in the morning, Pilates at noon, yin yoga at night. Like catch me there all summer. Unlimited. I'm still not over it. So those are my summer visions and goals, is that I want to do a lot more yoga this summer, and I want to be at the beach a lot more. I would love to know, what's your summer goals? Any hobbies you're wanting to get into? What are you wanting to learn more about? Comment below. Let's put it out there with this Gemini New Moon portal. But let's go ahead and give this week's astrology a little bit more texture and feeling with Vibe Check of the Week. So Vibe Check of the Week is a segment here in Magic Monday where we take all of this week's astrology and compare it to a real life scenario. So astrology meets actuality. We could talk about the astrology all day long, and we will. We'll talk about all the things all day long. It's Gemini season, but this is a way that we bring it to life via a real life example around how this astrology may play out. I'm not saying this is going to unfold within your world. Just tap into the themes and the vibes to see if similar ones surface as you navigate your reality this week. So this week's astrology feels like the following scenario. We will say that you decide your summer vibe list, your goal this summer is, you're like, I need to do more stuff. I need to do more stuff. I need to go to more shows. I need to take more classes. I need to go on more walks. Like I need to get out of the house and like do more stuff. And so you see that an artist that you love, that you've followed for years, is coming into your town, and spontaneously you purchase a ticket. And of course you're overthinking before you go. A lot of us could be overthinking this week and the rest of Gemini season. All the thoughts, okay, with the Mercury ruled season, it just is what it is. So you're overthinking around, should I go? Should I not go? Should I try to sell the ticket? Should I wear this? Does this look weird? Will it be awkward that I'm going by myself? Will I be able to connect with other individuals? Is there parking there? It's just all of the different thoughts are running through your head, but you decide, no, we got to get this Gemini season off to a good start, planning the scenes around going to more shows and doing more things. So you muscle through the overthinking and you make it to the show. And you have an amazing time. You end up having little conversations with other fans in the crowd. You're talking with this person as you go to grab a drink about what your favorite album is. And this person accidentally stepped on your shoes within the crowd. When they turned around, they were super apologetic. And somebody else asked if you could take a photo of them. And that kind of social anxiety is melting away the longer that you're at this show. There was an energy before you went around, everyone's gonna see that I'm all by myself and they're gonna think I'm so weird. But when you're there, you recognize like we're all connected around this love for this artist, and you're super happy to be there, and you're really happy that you got out of your comfort zone, which a lot of us can experience this week. Whether that's getting out of your social comfort zone, getting out of your work comfort zone, getting out of your schedule comfort zone, if you're trying to take more yoga classes or go to the beach more this season like I am. But as I stated earlier, there is a bittersweet quality to the week, and that's woven into the vibe check as well. As you've listened to this artist for many years of your life, and the different albums of the music that they play is just different capsules of different eras around, oh, that was the album that I listened to on repeat when I was dating this person, or oh, that was the album that came out when I was in my junior year of college, and oh, that was the album that came out when I was working that job that I despised, and being able to put my headphones on and like tune out from the world and listen to this album was the only thing that got me through. Of course, you're feeling so deeply into the music and the artist because you love this artist and you love this music, but there is pangs as you contemplate the different seasons of your life. And of course, you're open to the new. You are enjoying the new connections that you've made tonight, even if they don't go anywhere. You're looking forward to the new season, but there is a pang around contemplating the eras of your life that you don't reside in any longer, and the versions of self that you no longer are. Thinking of the version of you in college when that album just came out, and thinking about the version of you who worked that job, which again, a lot of these eras that we've evolved by, you're like, dear God, I'm so glad I'm not dating that person. Dear God, I'm so glad I'm not, eating ramen every day at college. Thank God I'm not working that particular job. Like, certainly there's certain eras that you're like, I'm glad I evolved past that. But there is a simplicity embedded within those particular eras, especially as you consider one particular album, the one that came out when you were in college. You had a best friend when you were in college, and this individual was also a huge fan of this artist. And as they play the songs that you and your best friend used to listen to all of the time when you guys spent every moment together in school, you feel that pang of missing that individual, feeling the nostalgia of not having this person here with you. The pangs around remembering that era of your life when you would text this friend of yours all day, every day, about every single thought that would go through either of your minds, or how after class you would go immediately to your bestie's house rather than your own in order to debrief and unwind, how you guys would get ready to go out and this album would always be blasting in the background. Like, you're just hit with a flood of memories from that season of your life, and being curious around, I wonder how that person's doing now. Because as it stands now, you're no longer on speaking terms with this person, and you're fuzzy on the details around why the two of you fell out. You remember that you were very hurt about it. There's elements of the friendship that does cut you deeply. But you also feel this like heartstring pull towards this person and wishing that they were at this concert, enjoying this music with you, singing along to the lyrics that the two of you used to scream as you were driving in the car together. And so being at this concert was such a beautiful experience. The lovely new people that you met and the music you got to listen to and the artist that you saw was even better than you could have even imagined. And you're so glad that you went. And this is a start to inviting in new experiences like this and being open to new connections and getting to know new songs. We'll say that certainly the artist played a lot of the songs that you knew, but there's also new songs and you're like, I can tell this is going to be a new favorite song of mine, or I'm so excited for the album that they're going to drop this summer. I wonder what memories this album will be the soundtrack to. Like, that's so exciting to think about, that this new era is coming in. And so you're open to the new and you're welcome to the new, but there is part of you that does want to reach out to this college best friend of yours. You don't recall why you fell out, and it's been so much time that you're curious what would happen if you just said, hey, how are you? Do you want to catch up? You're genuinely just curious on how it is that they're doing and what they think about the singles that have been dropped from this artist's album thus far. And so your pride is like, no, they need to come to me if they want to reconnect. And maybe logic is like, I'm pretty sure they live in a different city now. They're in a totally different season of life. I don't think a friendship would even be realistically plausible. Your heart still hurts from some of the things that transpired. Again, you're fuzzy on the details. It feels so insignificant now, your college fallout. But there is part of you, and that wounded part, that wonders if it's safe to like reopen that door, if initiating contact will bring about this wound that at this point in time has largely been healed over. I mean, you have not thought about this person for a long time, but music just has that way, doesn't it? To just dig up the old memories. And so you decide to not let your pride, nor logic, nor your wound win. You decide to let the curiosity win, and the desire for connection, the bid for connection, you decide to let that win. And so you decide to initiate a text. You say, hi, how are you? And you guys end up having a really lovely chat. And you guys don't get too deep with it. You do take accountability for your role and what played out around, I don't really recall what happened, but I know that I was not the best to you. I was not the greatest friend to you in the fallout, and they say the same thing. You both take your accountability for your part of it. There's no need to necessarily like rehash all the gory details, but there's more so just a focus around how are you? Like, how are you doing? Have you listened to the new album? And the conversation stops there. Again, you guys are in different cities. It's not that you're going to pick up exactly where you left off and just hold hands, skipping into the sunset. But part of you does feel renewed by that conversation, as well as the other small interactions and conversations that you had there at the concert. Again, it's not about moving backwards. This week's astrology is very much forward moving. But there is this opportunity to send a text, to make a call, to hit post on something. Is it going to be this huge life-changing thing? Absolutely not. But could it allow you to giggle? Could it allow you to learn something? Could it allow you to create one moment of genuine connection? Absolutely. And that's always going to be worth it. So we'll go ahead and transition into our day-by-day analysis. I just want to remind you that I'm located in sunny San Diego, and so that means that the time zone that I utilize is PDT. So please adjust to your local time zone if you are located elsewhere in the world than I am. Timestamps are below if you do feel called to jump to a particular day or jump back to a particular day. I know that these forecasts are quite lengthy, so some individuals like to split it up. Listen to the first part to get acquainted with their week and then go to the day by day. So just know that that's an option for you. So happy Monday, May 26th. Your day may start off on a little bit of a record scratch moment. The Taurus moon does align with Uranus a little bit before 7 a.m. So there could be an email that catches you by surprise. There could be a spill that catches you by surprise, a technical difficulty that catches you by surprise, a spurt of energy that catches you by surprise, a zing of rebellion that catches you by surprise, a random craving, food craving that catches you by surprise, driving to work and then contemplating, I could really go for a matcha right now. I could really go for a bagel right now, and going to snag one before work. You know, there is a spirit of openness when we talk about Gemini season. So there is an invitation to try something new, whether that's a strawberry white chocolate coffee situation, whether that's a new bagel shop, connecting with a new person at the matcha shop. Spice up your life, right? And then after that alignment, the moon is void. It enters Gemini at 10:21 a.m. PDT. The sign of the new moon energy tonight, ramping up all of this Gemini energy. So there can be a desire to want to connect, to be curious, to inquire. And the new moon will exact at 8:02 p.m. PDT. My preference is to utilize the new moon after it exacts. Some astrologers do feel differently about that, but the reason why I like to work with the new moon energy at the time it exacts or after is because at that point the moon is building. So it's supportive for things that we want to grow. Again, the day that we plant the seed is not the day that we eat the fruit. The first concert we go to in our vision around wanting to be more social or be out in the world is not necessarily the day that our entire lives change, right? Things need to grow. They need to develop. They need to unfold. And I like working on the waxing side with intentions because it gives that spirit of something building, of something growing. So if there is something within your life that you would like to expand, just knowing that Monday evening after 8 p.m., Tuesday and Wednesday is an amazing pocket of time to really contemplate that. And you don't even have to do a major ritual. I will share ritual ideas if you do feel called. It could also just be inquiring, questioning to yourself, what do I want to invite into my world? And maybe it's not a thing, maybe it's a feeling. Maybe it's not something for work, maybe it's you going to the beach once a week this summer, or making a dedication around, I will write a song every single week, or I will journal a page every single day. I will learn Mandarin. Like those intentions that are for the purpose of expanding your mind, right? Investing in your growth and not needing that growth to be quantified by the external world. I feel like that's also threaded with Saturn now in Aries. By the way, the All Sign Saturn Aries video is now live on the channel if you want to learn where that energy will kick up within your chart, where you're being asked to do the work, Saturn style. But I think Saturn in Aries is really independently defining our ambition, where of course we live in a society. We have these structures around us. But with Saturn in Aries, you don't need to build what other people deem as successful. You could build something that has value to you, or something that you want to build, something that you want woven into your legacy, and not feeling like everything needs to serve society or structure or ambition altogether. Like, where can you breathe this Gemini spirit of lightness and levity into your universe, and dismissing anything woven within you around your goals need to be tangible, they need to be definable, they need to be quantifiable from the outside world, enhancing your life. I can make goals of a different caliber. I can make goals around a different topic. I get to define what it is that I want to build. So this new moon aligns with Mercury, which is the messenger. And so yes, some of us could be working with this mercurial new moon in a very obvious way. You are planting seeds for a marketing and messaging pivot within your business. You're planting seeds to get the word out there because you're job hunting. You're planting seeds around getting into stand-up comedy. You're planting seeds around wanting to finally put pen to paper on that novel idea that's been swimming in your head. Mercury could be showing up in very obvious ways like that for you. But the mercurial influence of this new moon could also show up around wanting to plant the seeds around your mentality, around your mindset, where even if there's something different that you're calling into your experience, it's calling in the mentality that will support you in getting there, or even calling in the certain mindset or mentality that you want to frame your world with. We now have Saturn in Aries, so it's going to be important throughout this transit to really work the muscle of believing in yourself, of stepping into your courage, even if you are afraid, of really pushing through any sort of victim complex or why me sort of mentality. Again, that is not to invalidate or take away the pain and suffering that this experience is rife with. I mean, we have a Chiron aspect this week. It makes it so clear. But it's being very intentional not to identify with these sort of things, and being very intentional to see, I am a person who is going through something that is hard. I am not a cursed and doomed individual. I am the hero of my journey. I'm going through something challenging, but I will rise above, because that's what I do. That's who I am. And it's planting the seeds around the mindset that will support you in that. Again, within the vibe check, you felt all those things rushing in around, people are going to think I'm so weird that I'm there, and it's so bizarre that I'm going to an event by myself. But there was that moment where you had to kind of shift the mindset, shift the mentality around, this is not going to be what's going to get me to the concert. Like, I need to tune into thoughts of excitement and curiosity around, what am I going to experience there? And I wonder what this artist is like live, and I wonder who I'll meet. Like, even if the vibration of optimism feels very hard to reach for, seeing where you can reach for the tone of curiosity, even if that helps you get there. So it's planting the seeds, yes, around an empowering mindset, but also planting seeds around what will support your mind, what will support your mentality. Maybe some of you are really committing to meditation. You know how big I am on meditation. Okay, maybe that's something that you're calling in to benefit your mind. Maybe you're wanting to call in better communication style. Maybe you're wanting to call in more presence, less fear of the future and rumination of the past, being more present and training your brain to be more present in this particular moment. Maybe some of you, like me, are planting seeds around certain things that are going to support your mentality, support your mindset. Because that's why I want to be at the beach. That's why I want to go to yoga, is because it's good for me. It helps me shift into a more peaceful, creative state of mind. That's what I'm really after. It's not goals just for the purpose of metrics and success. It's also goals that are around, this will help me be the best version of me. Like I was saying in the beginning, you know, your mind is magic. Mercury is magic. But we do have to learn the skills necessary to hold the wand in order to master our magic. So it's also planting the seeds of things that support you in channeling your mind and using it as the conduit that it is. Because our mind can also be something that is full of fear, that is full of anxiety, that keeps us up at night, that plays tricks on us. You know, Mercury is a trickster energy. So maybe you are calling in things that will be supportive for your mental health. That can also be a way that you work with this new moon. This new moon sextiles Saturn in Aries, which does give it this tone around being able to have these new visions and ground them down. Now, Saturn is at the very precipice of this journey, and Gemini is a very light energy, sometimes fleeting. There was an energy within the vibe check around, you had these lovely conversations at this concert. Are any of them necessarily going to be your best friend forever and ever and ever? Maybe not, but that doesn't take away the value of having those interactions within the moment. You had that reconnection with a friend of yours from college. Is that going to be the moment that the two of you reconnect in this huge way? Probably not, but that doesn't take away the value of it. Will you brainstorm on some ideas or write some ideas down that may never see the light of day? Maybe, but that doesn't take away the value of conjuring and creating these visions. So we are at the precipice of this journey, and not everything necessarily is going to take root in a big way. But there can be an energy around planting seeds, around what you'd like to call in, not just for this lunar cycle, but also this is the first new moon after Saturn settles into Aries, which kicks off a new Saturn cycle for the next 28 and a half years. So maybe there is something that you're calling in around, I'm inviting in this spirit of being a novice when it comes to stand-up comedy, and who knows how this will continue to grow and bloom and prosper. Or I'm planting seeds around putting myself out there, being out in the world, because that's supportive for my mentality, it's supportive for my mindset, it's supportive for making me feel more connected to other humans. And who knows how those experiences will lead to connections that will continue to bloom and prosper. So it's giving yourself permission to be a beginner at something, or to be a novice at something, or to try something new, even if you're bad at something, is in this new moon. This new moon also sextiles Neptune, which adds in this dreamy nature, hence why we're at a concert within the vibe check. And actually, we're also at a concert because a lot of Gemini placements are musicians. Gemini governs the hands, so a lot of Gemini placements will work with their hands or play instruments with their hands, but I digress. The Neptune energy adds a little bit of dreaminess into the new moon, and the trine to Pluto deepens it. It gives the spirit around evolving towards something, but also evolving away from something. Again, as you listen to the music within the vibe check, it's contemplating the multiple lives that you've lived. It feels like, how have all of these lives been encapsulated in just me as an individual? How is it possible that I've had all these different eras and that this musician has provided the soundtrack for so many of them? Just contemplating your own rebirths and your own cycles, and also feeling the bittersweet quality of that around grieving who you used to be, grieving what used to be, the connections that used to be. Yes, being open to new experiences and new connections and the future, really, with Pluto and Aquarius, but also a subtle spirit of grieving what was, or the most insidious of them all, what could have been. Maybe this new moon on Mercury for you is around planting mindsets and mentalities that are more conducive for you, because the what could have been mindset is not going to lead you to anything fruitful. In fact, it's just going to make you feel full to the brim of expectation and regret and rumination, where how could you possibly soak up new experiences and information and connection when you're so full with your idea of how things should have unfolded or could have unfolded if only this were different or this were different. Empty out, let it go. Sometimes that really helps us be very present in the moment when we do let go of our expectations around how we think the concert should go, or who we think should be there with us, or if only we didn't get in this fight, then my college best friend would be there. If only this didn't happen, if only this, if only this. Let it go. Let it all empty out. The more that you're full with your idea around how it could be different or how it should be, the less room you have to absorb how it is. There's a quote, I'm going to butcher it, but the essence of the quote is to interact with every moment as though you had chosen it, and to see how your world opens up from that space. Even if you don't feel like you have chose it, you're like, Haley Comet, I did not choose this flat tire or this headache or what have you, because that allows you to let go of your expectations around how it should be and who you should be and how you should be, and just allow you to absorb how it is. And with the trine to Pluto, just acknowledging that this experience can be full of grief. With the Chiron transit building, it can be full of pain. And there is an ask this week around where it is that we can reach for the spirit of acceptance. Of course, reaching for tools and learning and mindset shifts that support us in coping and navigating, but to acknowledge that there will be some things in life that are bittersweet or that are painful or less than ideal. And so maybe even contemplating, Mercury sextiles Neptune today, what helps you in dealing with those sort of things? Again, I think a lot of us, I'm sure, turn to music, right? Put your headphones on and just disconnect from the outer world, tune into your inner. Music is magic in that way. But for some of us, books help. It's like the outer world ceases to exist when we get lost into the pages of a paperback. Or for some of us, writing helps. So listening to podcasts, listening to videos, intentionally allowing your mind to get lost in a different world with Mercury sextile Neptune. And it doesn't change what's happening within your world, but sometimes having that little bit of a vacation from it helps you manage it. And I would say with the Mercury sextile Neptune aspect today, sextiles are very subtle energies. So you might not be feeling this in any sort of overt way. There just could be an energy around getting lost in your own thoughts, getting lost in a great album, getting lost in a long conversation, getting lost in a brainstorming session. And there is something magic in being able to capture what you're feeling and put it into words, right? Put it into a poem, put it into a song, and not putting pressure around it and that it needs to be for public consumption, that it needs to be perfect, that it needs to be productive. If you can write something that helps you temporarily distract from the pain that you are navigating, if you can compose a song that distracts you from your workplace issues, if you could film a video that helps frame what it is that you're moving through, this is a form of magic within itself. And maybe that's the nudge for a lot of us, this Gemini New Moon. It's not needing everything to be serious around, I need to write this poem and then sell it in a collection for it to be worthy. Your thoughts and your words don't need to be monetized for them to have value. They don't need to be part of something for them to have value. They're beautiful within themselves. They're transmissions from another world with the energy of the sextile to Neptune. Do you ever write something and you're like, where did that come from? Or you channel something, or you download something, or you think of something to say within a conversation that you're like, I don't know where that came from, but I'm grateful to be the conduit for it. And so if you do feel so inspired to work with this new moon, you have a 3-day window of time to do so after it exacts around 8 p.m. It lands at 6 degrees Gemini, so you'll want to see the portion of your chart that holds 6 degrees Gemini. That is an arena of your chart that is ripe for planetary possibility, whatever it is that you want to plant. With this new moon's alignment to Mercury, I would encourage you to utilize words, write intentions, write affirmations, write a letter to yourself. Utilize words. Your words are your wand when it comes to this new moon, or even brainstorming with a friend around what it is that you two are wanting to call in order to amplify one another's visions. That can also be very powerful with Mercury sextile Neptune. Or even putting something out into the world, putting something to your social media followers or something like this to amplify that vision. Hence why I put out my vision and goal around going to the beach once a week and being in the yoga studio, is that when you have people around you, they can also amplify your visions and your ideas and see you within that particular lens and call it into being. If they have your best interest, that's another story in and of itself. But with Mercury and Gemini, sextile Neptune in Aries, there can be an energy around connecting with others and encouraging and empowering one another's dreams, something like this. On Tuesday, May 26th, Mercury in Gemini will trine Pluto in Aquarius at 10:56 a.m. PDT, which is a reminder of the power and responsibility that comes with language. Mercury in Gemini is a little bit of a yappy transit. And listen, Gemini placements, I love you. I could listen to you guys talk all day, every day. I love how Gemini minds work. I love how they link me to all sorts of information and connections. But let's just call it like we see it. Gemini energy, if it's not afflicted, typically is quite talkative. And it's important to honor that your mind is magical, your word is your wand, but we can create good magic or bad magic. Mercury is the trickster. And words can be used to deceive. They can be used to persuade. They could be used to entice. They could be used to manipulate. And so it's being very intentional how it is that you are using language to others, to yourself as well. Pluto energy can build and it can destruct. So it's like, how are you using your mind? Are you building or are you destroying? And Mercury in Gemini is talkative, yes, but it's also having a million different thoughts happening within. So this could be showing up around needing to exert power over your mind, or needing to exert power around what it is that you care to share and what it is that you want to keep sacred and private at this particular moment in time, which is a difficult balance to strike. Like I said, sometimes when we share what we are working on, it's very powerful in that people can amplify it, they can envision it for us, but there is something to be said around letting things incubate and letting things grow beneath the surface. And this really is a case-by-case scenario, because sometimes when you put an idea out that's a bit half-baked, in a sense, it can modify it. You can listen to everybody else's opinions on it and lose momentum, lose steam. And sometimes it's important to keep things sacred, keep things a little secret as it's building until you're ready to put it out into the world as a developed thought or a developed idea. You know, I'm currently working on something, and I'm someone where I don't like to talk about projects before they are out into the world. And that's not because I'm a paranoid person. It's just, for me, when I'm in the space of creating, it's actually more important for me to like tune out the external world in order to really hear my soul speak and to really communicate in a very undiluted way what I want to say. And I think with Saturn in Aries, there's an acknowledgement around not everybody is going to get your vision. And not everybody has to. You know, sometimes if we put something out there right away, we could be shut down before we even give the idea room to breathe and grow. And sometimes other people and their perspectives and their ideas can just shape it in a certain way when it's still in this very delicate birthing space. So yes, Mercury in Gemini is very talkative and there's lots of connection and brainstorming, collaborating. I'm not saying that that's not a focus this week, but if there's something that you're working on and you're wanting to keep a little sacred, you know, you're like, I don't need to tell other people that I'm getting back into stand-up comedy. I'm just going to jump into it and see how it feels and go from there. Or I'm not going to necessarily tell people all of the intricacies of what this novel's about. I'm just allowing it to grow in its own way. Honor that. And it might just be important to have discernment around what it is that you are sharing and what it is that you're not, as well as just being discerning around information or gossip or things like that. You know, Gemini energy can be very talkative, okay? So just keep that in mind. If you're spilling a secret at this time and you're like, don't tell anyone I told you this, and you told someone else you wouldn't tell this, like that next person also might loosen their inhibitions as well and tell the next person. Like, I just would be intentional with language, both around how you are talking to yourself as well as what information you are divulging. And with Mercury trine Pluto, there's an awareness and acknowledgement around where our thoughts are evolving, where our thoughts are transforming. You could randomly get into a deep conversation today, like out of nowhere. Do you ever have that? Well, say within the vibe check, you're at the concert and you guys are talking about this album and then the two of you are talking about the breakups you were having concurrently. I love when connections start surface level and then go into the depths. Like, I love it. I would rather have 20 of those conversations rather than talking about the weather or things like that. And you may find that you have certain conversations where it does take a turn for the deep in a random way. And maybe honoring that, you know, with Mercury and Gemini, being curious around other individuals' perspectives. And even if it's not deeply personal, allowing your mind to be changed, like remaining teachable, remaining open around how your thinking can evolve and change and transform. That's what's beautiful about Gemini energy, is that they are a mutable air sign. So there is this spirit around, they can change their mind. They do and they can change their mind if there is compelling logic and reasoning behind it. And they are the individuals where they'll be curious around someone else's perspective and tell me why you think that and tell me what you went through. And with the trine to Pluto, having their mind evolved as a result. This is what makes individuals the most intelligent, is when you're open to be teachable and to learn something rather than to be so full with your ideas and your opinions that you don't have any space to drink up other people's perspectives. This is what's very powerful about Gemini energy. And altogether with Mercury trine Pluto, some of you, if you work with words, you can find that you get into like a flow state, like you get very deep into your writing. Like I said, you could get very deep into a conversation of some sort, very deep into researching on a particular topic. And then that afternoon, evening-ish, around 4:35 p.m. PDT, the Gemini moon will sextile Mars in Leo. So great opportunity to take a fitness class, to do that errand that you've been putting off. Like this could be that energy of like mustering the courage to go do the thing around, I need to go get an oil changed, or I need to get this flat tire fixed, or something like this. I like to put those pesky, annoying errands on Tuesday, Mars Day, because it helps give us the courage to push through. And the moon sextile Mars energy also supports that. And then at 8:21 p.m., the Gemini moon will sextile Venus in Aries. So maybe if you do push through to do that errand that you've been putting off, or to go to that networking event, do the hard thing, you give yourself a sweet treat or something like that to give your Tuesday a little bit of sweetness, connection, beauty. On Wednesday, May 28th, we start the day with the moon transiting Gemini. It sextiles Chiron in the wee morning hours, then conjoining Jupiter at 6:01 a.m. PDT. And this is the subtle wave of energy around, it hurts, but it's okay, in the grander scheme of things, as well as acknowledging that more than one thing can be true at once. Gemini deals a lot with duality, and a lot of our experiences have this dual nature, this bittersweet quality. Things are so rarely all good or all bad, where we can acknowledge on one hand, that was incredibly painful to go through, but on the other, I did get a good song out of it, or I got a lesson out of it. Or on one hand, that was an annoying situation, but on the other, it's also kind of funny, and I can laugh at it. On one hand, it is a bit lonely to be at this concert by myself, but on the other, it's really great to be able to connect with all of these other individuals, as well as cry to my favorite songs without anyone judging me. Things are so rarely black and white or all in one category, and it's important to leave space for the nuance, especially when contemplating the lessons of our lives and where it takes us around, again, feeling those pangs, those bittersweet emotions of finding a meme and wanting to send it to someone and then having to remind yourself, oh wait, no, we broke up, or we fell out, or they're not on this planet anymore. And just like feeling that wave of grief all over again. Again, it might be a fleeting feeling, especially if you're far along within the healing process, but you still have that moment around, oh, because sometimes, grief or heartache or loss on any dimension shows up in these big ways, right? When we just feel like our heart is being torn open and we're sobbing. But sometimes it also shows up around, gosh, I wish I could tell them this story. Gosh, I wish I could send this song. Gosh, I wish I could ask them this. And you feel it in those small moments. And again, it's a fleeting moment, but it is a moment. And with the alignment to Jupiter, it's bringing yourself back to the bigger picture of it. If you do find that any little bit of shoulda, woulda, coulda is creeping into your mentality this week, please know that you could not be who you are now if you were not who you were then. And acknowledging, even if parts of it sucked, to be blunt, or were incredibly painful or incredibly difficult to go through, with the alignment to Jupiter, acknowledging at least it got me here, or at least it made me feel more connected to this, or brought more meaning to my life here. And how this could show up within your practical world is you could start the day with a little bit of zest for life, curiosity around what the day will have in store. And Wednesday morning would be a great morning for meditation. Let me start there to quell some of the Mercury branded overthinking that can be alive right now, or anything else that returns you to the bigger picture, because things are always going to hurt or be bittersweet or make you wince a little bit. That's just the nature of life. So it's what brings you to the proper perspective in order to navigate those things in stride. That might be something important to prioritize on Wednesday morning. And the moon is void after its conjunction to Jupiter until it enters Cancer at 10:33 a.m., which draws our awareness to our homes, to our roots, to our feeling of safety and security. And the Cancer moon will promptly square off with Saturn, newly in Aries, and then Neptune in Aries as well. And both of the all signs forecasts for those transits will be available below. You may want to get dialed into that, as the Aries territory of your chart is quite alive and active. Quite a bit of activity there. And with the Cancer moon energy, it's very responsive. I don't like to say Cancer energy is moody. I say it's responsive. It responds to the data. And again, with Gemini energy, we are curious. We are likely a little bit more restless or craving new stimuli. But with the energy of Cancer moon, we're also feeling into the new environments that we're in. And so with the Cancer moon squaring Saturn and then squaring Neptune, there can be something heavy on you emotionally, and not all of it is yours to carry. Some of it may be, but with the square to Neptune, being very mindful where it is that you are absorbing other people's emotions or trying to manage their comfort levels or make sure that they're okay while abandoning yourself. Like, that is important if you're someone who gets very socially overwhelmed when you're in crowds or around a group of people, wanting to make sure that everybody is having fun. This is an important day to bring yourself back into center, ground down, feel rooted within your own physical vessel and within your own energy so that you don't scatter yourself or overwhelm yourself, taking in not just all the mental stimuli, but the emotional responsiveness with Cancer moon. Because again, if you're at that concert and you're so dialed into other people and their perceived emotions and reactions towards you, you're not fully in that moment for yourself. You're not able to drink it for yourself. Oh, this person looked at me this way, and is this person having fun? Do they have enough space? You're so outside of yourself that you're not able to be yourself, essentially. And it's also witnessing where you might do this at work around trying to mitigate or manage other people's discomfort or workload at the expense of your own. Again, it's not saying that you should not help and support other humans, like Gemini season is around connecting, but it's ensuring that you are doing so from a full cup yourself. I do want to remind you that at this present moment in time, now that the Sun and Mercury have left Taurus, we don't have that much Earth in the cosmos. So it's going to be important to remember to ground yourself, remember to eat, remember to move, remember to human. Okay, sometimes we're so in the Gemini that we're kind of so distracted that we forget to be human. And if there are waves of sadness, grief, sorrow, whatever comes up that are your own, because sometimes it's our own stimuli that we are responding to, the invitation is to know that truly this too shall pass, and seeing whatever you can do to signal to your mind, body, and soul that they are all safe with you, that you will do whatever is necessary to make yourself a hospitable host to all that you are, that your body can trust you not to overwork it and to burn itself out, that your mind can trust you to get to bed at a reasonable hour and to meditate and to give it brain food and things that it needs to soar, that your soul can trust you to do the things like surrounding yourself in nature and praying that remind you your purpose and your why. And it's really cultivating that self-trust that feels essential, especially with Saturn now in Aries. I can trust myself. And again, I feel like with that Cancer moon squaring Neptune in Aries, some of you might be pulled back around shoulda, woulda, coulda, or wishing something would have happened differently. And maybe even holding on to guilt or shame around, how can I trust myself? I allowed that to happen. Can I trust myself? Doubting your own judgment, overthinking, with this Gemini energy. There is something to be said around allowing in other people's perspectives and advice, but they can only guide you in accordance to their compasses. And you may not have the life path or the calling that their compass points to. Be open to other people's perspectives, but at the end of the day, you've got to trust your own inner compass. And knowing if I wouldn't have gotten lost then, I wouldn't be where it is that I am now. And I trust myself so deeply that I do the things that are truly nourishing, because that's when we can really tap in and tune in and exercise discernment and intuition. All of the things is when we are truly nurturing ourselves, when we are truly taking care of ourselves. The more we are depriving ourselves, the louder and louder the outer world is going to be, and the more off path we are going to get. It's coming back to home base with the Cancer moon. And with the square to Neptune and Saturn, there can be waves of confusion. There can be waves around wanting to go home, but not being certain what home is. Being at that concert and looking at other people with their booze and with their soul family and longing for that. And yes, missing people, but also missing a sensation, a feeling of safety. And it's just important, just as the moon is constantly waxing and waning, our emotions do as well. So the invitation on Wednesday is to just ground yourself as much as possible and trust that emotions are like the tide. They ebb and they flow. On Thursday, May 29th, at 9:13 p.m. PDT, we have the Mercury Cazimi. And Cazimi means in the heart of the sun. It's essentially when sun and another planet, in this case Mercury, fuse to become one. They're positioned at the same degree in the sky. And this is a significant moment because prior to this, Mercury was being burned up by the sun. Not literally, but in terms of its proximity to the sun. It was what we call combust. And when a planet is combust, sometimes its properties are a little burned out. Okay, and at this moment, this Mercury is now absorbed into the sun, again, from our vantage point here on planet Earth. But now they're together. And you know that energy when a spotlight comes and you can't see for a second? Like Mercury Cazimi is when your eyes have acclimated to the spotlight, right? And you really have that moment of clarity. And you may see something, realize something today, have a breakthrough, have a conversation that's very illuminating, send a message that's very enlightening. And this was the moment in the vibe check that you send the message to this friend, that you make this bid for connection. Not putting too much pressure on it, right? Like Gemini energy, you kept it light. You started with a little joke, asked if they've listened to the album of this artist at the concert that you went to. It was a bid for connection, which can feel very vulnerable. And with Venus Chiron over the weekend, there can be part of you that feels a little raw and vulnerable, and maybe you're expressing that to someone else, or even just sending out a text around your desire to want to heal or repair things. Now, let me be so clear. This is not me giving my Comet cosign to messaging your ex or an ex-best friend who like deeply hurt you and deeply wounded you. Like I said, the focus this week is really on the future, but if there's something that you want to say, a desire to just genuinely connect, a desire to just be like, how are you? How are you doing? How are you faring? It's been some time. This might be a nudge to do that. And there could be something healing about it with Venus Chiron. And that's not the only way that you could do it, is reaching out to the person. Again, maybe you write a letter, you journal on the experience, something like this. But a good way to decipher whether or not you're ready to reach out to somebody, if you do want that, is how would you feel if they didn't respond? How would you feel if you texted that friend from college and said, hey, how are you? I went to this concert of this artist we used to listen to. Did you know that they're coming out with this new album? I hope you're well. And they don't respond. Or even worse, your college friend texts you back like, how dare you act like we're friends after what happened at Toga night at Phi Cap, our senior year of college? Like, how dare you? And sometimes if we're like, gosh, it would just destroy me if they did not respond, sometimes that can signal that we're not in a space where we're able to reach out without expectation, without attachment to receiving a certain sort of response. Because if you don't hear back, whatever, you were authentic and genuine within your response. If this person chews you out, maybe there's a little bit of accountability that you can take with Saturn Aries around, yeah, that was not great behavior that I exhibited at that toga party. And maybe there's like parts of me that sort of deserve the friendship breakup. Like, regardless, keep your side of the street clean, show up for connection honestly and authentically, and you can walk away from any sort of interaction feeling good. Even if you don't get the response you would have desired, you can still know that you're walking away from it being true and being you, right? And it's just honoring, with Mercury trine Pluto still alive in the air, and we connect with different people in different seasons of our life. And so it's just honoring, like, that was my college best friend and we had so many great memories together, and I can be the container that holds those memories and reflects on them, either by myself or with this person, if they, pick up the phone and want to have a conversation. And it doesn't make that time of my life or that connection a failure just because we no longer have that same relationship. A failure would be if I did not learn from that. And in any situation, we learn from it. And some people that we are connected to, we will just for a particular season of life. And it could be bittersweet around, gosh, we used to text all day, every day. And gosh, I used to be at your house more than I was at my house. Gosh, we used to do all our errands together and all of our studying together. And you could feel that pain of love lost. But was it really lost? It was just transformed into the next seasons of both of your lives. And you both individually would not be the people that you are now had you not had that special connection or friendship or relationship. And it's so powerful when we can reconnect or reminisce while also acknowledging, our paths are different, but I really love how we grew together and we learned together. And who knows, within our vibe check this week, the friends did not, come together in this glorious way, but sometimes that happens. We're all here in life school, and part of being in life school is sometimes flunking the tests every so often, having behavior at the toga party at Phi Cap that you're not proud of, right? That is part of life school, is messing up. And sometimes relationships falter, not because there's not a genuine connection, but just because of where you're at, where that person is at, where your journeys are taking you, where it is that you are doing the work on yourselves. And it's so powerful when friendships, connections can come back together. And it does happen, not all. And it's important to not place expectation on other people, nor feel like it's a failure if it only was for one season of your life, but it does happen. One of my dearest friends and I did not talk for a couple of years, honestly. We had some sort of falling out. I don't feel like it was anything dramatic, but I know we definitely were not talking nor hanging out. And I don't remember how we found our way back to each other. All I know is that I'm so glad that we did. And it was so heartbreaking because many of the years that we were not talking, she still lived in the same city as me. And right when we became friends again, she told me that she was moving to a different state and to a different city. And of course, I trust in the timing of things, but part of me did feel that pang around, gosh, we wasted so much time. I could have been hanging out with you the entire time that you were still in my city and now you're going across the country. It was just kind of heartbreaking to feel that and to wonder, what were we even fighting about? What were we even fighting about? What was I even mad about? What were you mad about? Sometimes those small details that seem so significant at the time aren't very significant as time goes by. And even though a lot of the details I don't recall around why we fell out, what have you, I definitely played a role in it. So did she. Any connection that we have, we both play a role. And with Saturn and Aries, it's acknowledging the role that we played within everything in our lives. And I think a lot of it was just the season of life that we were in, and we were both entrenched in toxicity just within our individual lives. And we both treated each other not the best, not the greatest. And we kind of flunked that lesson of life school, particularly in our friendship with one another. And it was so beautiful to just naturally and organically have our paths converge. And even though she has moved now, I did get to visit her in Milwaukee. She was the friend that I visited. And so sometimes you make that bid for connection around, hey, how are you? Haven't talked to you in years. And you get a response back. And they're like, how are you? Let's catch up. And you could pick up where you left off. Sometimes you reach out and you just have a little kiki. You just talk about things and then that's that. Sometimes you reach out and you don't hear back. But what I can tell you is that nothing that is truly for you will ever pass you. And if paths are meant to come back together, they absolutely will. So it's trusting in that. And if you do feel a nudge to send a text, to make a call, to even post something online that might feel a little vulnerable, with this Venus Chiron energy building, there could be certain ideas that you receive, illuminating conversations that you have. And the moon's in Cancer all day long. And that's where Gemini energy can be helpful, because certainly with the Cancer moon, we can be feeling the pulls of nostalgia and feeling sentimental and reminiscing on the past. Absolutely. But the Gemini energy can help you to remain logical, to detach from it, to view it from above. It's an air sign, right? Around acknowledging in the grander scheme of things, life will go on if I do not get a reply back from this person. It could be helpful in finding that logical approach. On Friday, May 30th, happy Friday, we start the day with the moon still in Cancer, squares the building Venus Chiron alignment in the morning time. So Venus and Chiron will officially align on Sunday, but you may be feeling it build. And again, with this building, it can bring about triggers where even thinking back to that experience of your life and being friends with that particular friend in college, it brings you back to, yes, missing the person, but also feeling the shame of who you were in that season of your life, or being triggered by what that person represents to you. There just could be an energy where something can seem innocuous to a surface level. It's just a paper cut. It's just hitting your funny bone. It's just thinking of a friend from college, but there might be like a wince or like a, ooh, that hurts, because it's pinging at something much deeper, which can be absolutely your heartstrings, missing someone, but sometimes it attaches to a bigger story around this friendship fallout represents how I'm not able to maintain genuine friendships, or this friendship fallout represents how I'm different than other people and I feel misunderstood. Sometimes we can take something in legitimate pain and we can expand upon it and build upon it and weave it into our own identity, our own sense of self, as though it's something that defines you, that you're wrong, you're bad, you're flawed, you're this, you're that. And again, with Saturn in Aries, it's important to take accountability around, yeah, I was a little toxic in college. Yeah, some things went down at that toga party that I don't necessarily feel good about. But it's not weaving in this energy of shame, like that sustained shame where you just feel so humiliated to be who it is that you were, or so not chosen, or so not good enough, and it seems like everybody else is getting what it is that you want and you desire, and you just feel different than other people. Like sometimes we build a story upon itself where it's just this person and the flickering thought of them, but it layers and it cuts deeply because of what you've made it mean. And with this alignment building in Aries, what you've made it mean about you. And it's important to know that you're a person who might have done bad things at the toga party. You are not a bad person. It's important to distinguish that, because with Venus Chiron, there could just be pangs around, I'm worthless, I'm nothing, I'm not deserving of a connection, I'm not deserving of a friendship. And there just could be an energy on Friday morning where it's just feeling that pang of not belonging. Again, looking out at the crowd at that concert and seeing everybody else with their friends and their family and their loved ones, and feeling rather alone in that particular moment. And again, having your mind go back to this particular friendship and being like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I build solid connections that last? Why am I not lovable? And it's important with Saturn Aries around, if I don't like something within my life, it's up to me to change it. Like truly, if I don't like something, I've got to change it. I've got to take responsibility of that. But I also know that I am lovable because I am love. Like the way that I bonded with the girl in front of me, even though she stepped on my shoes, like I am love. The way that I had a deep conversation with someone in line to get drinks, talking about our breakups to a particular album, like I am love. Like I know I am lovable because I am love. And I'm not going to make the connections and the relationships that didn't work out mean something about me. The Cancer moon does sextile Uranus in the morning time, which can be an invitation to breathe in some novelty into your morning. You know, in those pangs of feeling lonely or feeling rejected, sometimes it can be helpful to give what it is that you want to receive. So in moments that I feel like I'm not being seen, I really try to make an effort to see others and like give genuine compliments. If that's something that I'm like wanting to receive, I seek to give what I receive. If I want some more sweetness within my day, I'll strive to be sweet and give somebody else a thoughtful gift of some sort. And it's not viewing it transactionally, but it's just viewing, I know this exists and I know that I'm deserving of it because that's what I provide, that's what I pour out. If you desire connection, become connection. If you desire sweetness, become sweetness. If you desire love, become love. It's all within you. We feel deprived when we look for it outside of us. Become it. And Friday, the moon will be void after that sextile to Uranus. So Again, this could also show up around you hear a song on the radio that you haven't heard for some time, and it brings you back to being a little kid and hearing it as you and your dad were cooking or something like this. Like those moments that transport us back to a prior time. And sometimes we can feel those pangs, right, from Chiron as we reminisce on these past seasons of life. But it's knowing that all of these past lives that you've lived within this one life were essential for you to be where it is that you are now, as well as where it is that you're going. So the moon enters Leo at 1:17 p.m. So you may be feeling a little tired, a little not as focused Friday morning, but when the moon enters Leo, there is a focus around creativity. There's a focus on leadership, letting your light shine. And the Leo moon will trine Saturn and trine Neptune. So opportune time to sprinkle your Friday with a little magical fairy dust, getting your stuff done, absolutely, with the Leo moon trining Saturn, allowing your leadership to speak for itself, to be something that is solidified and anchored, and finding ways to infuse a little compassion, creativity into how it is that you're leading and how it is that you're showing up. And that evening at 7:43 p.m., the Leo moon will oppose Pluto in Aquarius, which can intensify and make more extreme our emotions. It's important to know who it is that you are as a leader. And even if you're listening to this and you're like, Haley Comet, I'm not a leader, you are. You're leading your life. You're the CEO, overseeing all of the departments, your body, mind, your soul. You're the CEO of this experience. And you also could be a leader within your community. You could be a leader within your workplace. Like, you never know who sees you as a light source. You never know who sees you as a source of inspiration. And with Saturn and Aries, there is such a focus at this time that will continue to build throughout the course of this transit around really knowing who you are and standing within that, and not allowing yourself to be swayed from things that are not you. Right? With the Leo moon opposite Pluto, not allowing yourself to be corrupted by power or to be enticed by visions that are not heartfelt, not allowing yourself to be distracted by other people's success, by other people's fame, by other people's virality, by other people succeeding and achieving. Again, that's a really important emotional state to observe when it comes up. Again, the Gemini energy is helpful for being able to view our emotions a little bit logically, to name it around what am I feeling? Okay, that. What is it here to show me, right? Because our emotions are here to show us something. It's giving us data. And an emotion that I would really encourage you to look at if it comes up is when you feel bitter, when you feel jealous. Like, that really is something to look at. And it's not from a shaming perspective. We all have felt that way. We're all human beings. But it's really important to alchemize that as it comes up, because seeing other people win is a testament that you can win as well. And the vibration of feeling bitter and that that person's win means your loss, or that that person shining means you flopping, like, that indicates that you're operating from the scarcity mentality. Like, something that I love about Leo energy, because, you know, we do have this Leo moon, is that they shine, but they want you to shine. They want to be hyped up, sure, but they'll hype you up, right? It's like we all can win. And so observing when you're feeling bitter or jealous or feeling like other people are taking opportunities away from you. Again, it's not shaming yourself for feeling these things, but it's really like contemplating, what is this person bringing up within me? And how can I like alchemize that into more creative fuel around this is possible for me as well. And this person shining can inspire my glow. And on Saturday, May 31st, the moon is in Leo all day long, sextiling both the Gemini sun and Mercury Gemini. Both of those aspects occur in the morning. So I would encourage you to lead with a spirit of curiosity. Curiosity, what the weekend will have in store, following the direction of what feels joyful and playful and light. I do want to say that there are elements of this weekend that are quite painful, with Venus aligning with Chiron tomorrow, but Saturday is a day to really honor the glimmers of sunshine within your world. Like I've been sharing about Gemini season, it truly is about the little things and grabbing hold of those moments of joy and expanding them, like consciously making them bigger. Like the way that getting this deal on this unlimited studio membership has made my entire life The way I've been floating on a cloud from this information for about a week. Listen, life is cruel, life is harsh, life is hard. You gotta grab those moments of sweetness or when something good happens and celebrate it, expand it, make it a big deal. And maybe that's not unlimited membership for you. Maybe it's really being present as you watch the sunset or intentionally deciding to go wander around the farmer's market and be delighted by all the colors and the visions of all of the people. Again, lightness within your life doesn't need to show up around this huge event that changes the entire trajectory of your world. It could just be this invitation to be more present, be able to drink up this moment for all that it is. Like really see the black and white cat on your neighbor's windowsill, to really feel the sunshine on your skin. Again, allowing yourself to empty out all of your expectations and judgments and what should have been and what could have been and all of that. Release that. What is now? Because that's where a lot of joy can be found, as well as consciously expanding those moments of what makes you happy, what brings a glimmer of sunshine into your world. Sometimes it's not so much around the huge overt beams, like the huge things within our life. Sometimes it's just the glimmers that just kind of like filter into our life in a very subtle way, and expanding them, tuning into even what's exciting us, what's amusing to us, what's interesting us, what we're curious about. Allowing ourselves to step into our Saturday around what will I create today? What will I learn today? Who will I connect with today? Going off on some errands and allowing yourself to be delightfully taken off the course around I meant to just get my car changed, but then I saw that this new boutique opened up and I just kind of wandered around and chatted to the person. Find some whimsy, find some delight within your Saturday. On Sunday, June 1st, happy June. Today, the main headline, besides us being in June, because what is this year? Why are things happening so fast? I don't understand it. But other than that, and me spiraling and crashing out, wondering if time's real, at 1:11 p.m. PDT, Venus in Aries will conjoin Chiron in Aries, which can bring some pain. It can bring pain as it relates to our relationship. It could bring pain as it relates to our friendships. It could bring pain as it relates to our wallet. There just could be this ouch sensation. And like I said, it cuts even deeper because it's not just the event that wounds, it's what we allow it to mean about ourselves. Again, there could be some sort of acknowledgement on Sunday around finances and just feeling guilty or feeling flawed because you're like, how did I let this happen? I must be dumb, I must be stupid, or something like this. Or maybe something hurtful transpires with a partner and you internalize it around, if I was better, then this wouldn't have occurred. Maybe something transpires as it relates to your beauty. You see a photo of yourself and anybody else would look at it and be like, you look great, but inwardly you're like, I look different than I thought that I would, and this is flawed and this is flawed. It's just a photo, it's just an argument with your partner, it's just your bank account statement on a random Sunday, but you're making it mean something so much deeper around your inherent worthiness, your inherent value, and really inherently who it is that you are. And some of you could feel some heartache on Sunday, whether that is romantic, friendship, familial, just this energy around feeling profoundly abandoned, rejected, invalidated. And again, it cuts even deeper when certain events transpire that almost like affirm what the wounded part of yourself was telling you all along. Right? When certain events transpire that feed into a certain cycle within your own brain around, I'm worthless and I deserve treatment like this. So when you are treated like that, even though it hurts you deeply, it affirms part of you that feels like you deserved it, or it's the sort of treatment that you should receive. Some of us might feel inclined to send some sort of message. I'm not saying it needs to be sent to the person. Some of you could be doing some sort of like burn letter, or just feel like it's important to say your piece. And like I said, I would check in with your motivations around that before you send it. If you feel like it's going to hurt you even deeper, if you send this paragraph text around everything that this person did wrong and that person's like, all right, I'm not reading that. Like if that's going to cut you deeper and affirm certain messages within you around, I'm not worthy of being listened to, like that's when I would not reach out to that person, because clearly there's conditions placed on that particular message. You're doing it for them. You're not doing it for you. If you do feel inclined to send a message of this variety, not genuine connection, hi, how are you? Like in an energy around, this is helpful for my healing process to say the words that I never got to say, to speak my piece, to tell you how you hurt me. it's important to get to a space where you're doing it for you. You're not doing it for them. Because if you're putting certain conditions around, if this person apologizes, I'll finally be able to heal. Again, you're putting the onus on them, which then in turn gives them the power. And all this Aries energy, like step into your own power. Like you do not need anybody else's permission or cosign to heal. Chiron is in Aries. Healing is an inside job. Other people are the catalysts. They are the triggers. They are the infliction point. But oftentimes the work of healing, that is our job. And I'm not saying blaming yourself. That person should not have treated you how they did. That was not okay. Aries energy is stepping into that around. That was not okay with me. But in terms of how you proceed forward, that person does not have a key to unlock healing and moving forward. Only you can do it for yourself. So if you feel like finally sending that message to this person and getting that apology that you've been looking for, or for them to see the error in their ways, it's putting the onus on them. It's giving them the power. And it's not where healing lies. Healing is within. Because again, they might have been the catalyst or the final tipping point, but when it comes to those connections that really sear us, that burn us deeply, oftentimes it builds upon a bigger story that might have roots in like little us, or like things that transpired way before we even met them or had this particular interaction. And the part of us that feels confused and just wants the pain to go away will go to the most recent person who inflicted the pain, thinking that's where healing is found. But healing is within. Healing is only found within you with this alignment in Aries. The more that you push it off around as soon as I get that apology, as soon as this person begs for me back, as soon as I chew this person out and they tell me that they finally see the error in their ways, then I'll be able to move forward. That is an illusion. And so I would not send a text if you are very contingent upon receiving that apology or having them show up or react to you in a particular way. That indicates that you're placing conditions and expectations on them. If anything, say it for you. Say it because you want to get it off your chest. Say it because it's important for you to find your voice. And it doesn't need to be said to that person. Like you can do a burn letter. You could connect with their higher self. I've done it in a dream before, and it was very effective. I do recommend summoning someone in your dream and telling them what you need to say. I'm telling you, I woke up that next morning, I felt free and fresh and relieved because I didn't need their 3D version to hear my message. Like I really didn't need that. It was just important for me to say it and put it out into the universe, which we can do in a journal entry. We could do in a burn letter. We could do in a dream. It was about me finding my voice. It was not about getting this person to see the error in their ways or take accountability or apologize or anything like that, because that's not my responsibility. Like with Saturn and Aries, all of us kind of need to mind our business during this transit. Like we cannot check here in life school to make sure that everybody else is doing their work and studying for their tests. Like you only have responsibility over your own life and your own karma. So I know it's tempting if we've been done dirty to be like, they need to see that they did bad. They need to see that they made a mistake. That's not your responsibility. And we keep ourselves stuck feeling like as soon as that happens, then I'll be able to heal. You have the ability within you to heal at any point in time. It is not contingent upon this person. And again, unraveling what you've allowed this to mean about you. Unraveling how this person has made you feel unworthy, how this person has made you feel not valuable, how this person has made you feel not beautiful. Unraveling that. That has nothing to do with you. It's all of our first time here on Earth. Although I would imagine those who are drawn to my cosmic corner of the internet, it's probably, you guys have been here a couple of times. Got some old souls here in this corner of the internet. But regardless, we're all trying our best. We're all doing the best that we can. And people have hurt us. We have hurt others. None of us are perfect. Because sometimes you're just giving these people who have done you dirty way too much power to define you, to label you. A lot of times people are just ensnared in their own toxicity, in their own hurt, in their own pain. And the way that they treat us is a reflection of them and not a reflection of you. So if you feel defined by a way that somebody treated you, by a way that somebody dismissed you or ignored you, again, that says more about them than it does you. With Saturn and Aries, take accountability for your role in it. I'm sure you also ensnared in certain seasons of your life, unintentionally inflicted pain on other people because you were in a more toxic season of life. And you probably wouldn't want those people to continue navigating their life feeling like they're this or that because of your treatment of them. You might have cut somebody in line in 3rd grade to go get chocolate milk, and that person could have internalized it around, I'm always dismissed, nobody ever sees me, people just think they can cut in line, and you were just really thirsty and impatient, and unknowingly you gave the 3rd grader behind you this entire complex around not feeling seen. Again, here in life school, it's messy, and we can try to do the best we can and be the best we can, but sometimes we do inflict pain on others, and sometimes people do inflict pain on us. And with Venus Chiron, it's just acknowledging that was just a selfish 3rd grader cutting you in line because she wanted chocolate milk in that moment. That had nothing to do with you and your worthiness and your visibility. Like, that's what you would tell that person out there who's internalizing the story from 3rd grade. And if you think back to a toxic ex or to a best friend that you had a falling out with, they probably would want to relay the same message around, oh, I was just going through this or that, and you triggered me, or I was jealous of you, or what have you. That really had nothing to do with you. Like, oftentimes things really don't have too much to do with us. Is there room to grow? Yes, for all of us. But it's not that there's something inherently wrong with you. Because sometimes when we feel like there is, that's when we aren't as inclined to grow, to try, to see where it is that we could do better. Because it's just like, well, I'm just not good enough to begin with. I'm just going to be dismissed to begin with. I'm just unworthy to begin with. So why even try? Why even try to get better? Why even try to grow? And so sometimes identifying with that and identifying with those raw pain points actually diminishes our road to healing. And so just acknowledging where triggers can be coming up this weekend, big or small, particularly around your beauty, your value, your love life, your connections. And so Sunday morning could have a little bit of a spicy start. The Leo moon aligns with Mars at 3:41 a.m. So you might wake up ready to tackle some sort of project. You could wake up with some energy around, let's do the things, let's get a workout in, let's clean the garage, let's get up to something. You could also just feel a little fiery, a little impatient. The Leo moon does trine that Venus Chiron alignment around midday. So yes, there's pain points, there's triggers, but with the energy of Leo moon, it's coming back to your heart. It's coming back to the truth of who it is that you are. Coming back to creativity. Like I said, sometimes writing a story, making a TikTok can take the pain away. And some emotions might catch you by surprise. You could be feeling quite rebellious. You could be feeling a little scattered, a little erratic. The Leo moon will square Uranus around 4 p.m. before sextiling Jupiter at around 4:30. So you could have a spontaneous change of plans. You could have envisioned the day to go this way, and then randomly you're like, I actually need to go to Home Depot and get this nail so I could finish this DIY project or something like this. Or a friend calls you up and is like, do you want to go to this random event? And you're like, sure. There could be something spontaneous. And the moon is void from about 4:30 until 8 p.m. when the moon enters Virgo. So if you did say yes to the spontaneous hang, if you did get all entrenched in this creative DIY project, the moon entering Virgo around 8 p.m. is your invitation back down to planet Earth, where you might be thinking about work tomorrow and what workout classes you're going to book this week, and have you meal prepped, and what tasks and errands do you need to get done. There might be an energy to attune to the small facets of your reality, and just knowing we've got a lot of Mercury right now. And so all the Mercury energy, a lot of mental activity and shatters. So also really important to prioritize sleep and rest and nourishment. And so my loves, that is our week. The Magic Monday mantra of the week is, I inspire a new perspective. This is our mantra this week because I wanted it to show up twofold. Gemini's the twin, so all of the duality energy. The first is, I inspire a new perspective within myself. I inspire myself to view things with a new lens. We can't change in life what we look at. We're going to look at pain and suffering and anguish regardless within this experience. It's just part of it. All we have control over is the lens by which we view it. So how can we plant the seeds around the perspective that is helpful in coping with stress or with anxiety? How can we align with mindset of curiosity and creativity and peace, and prioritizing what brings us closer to that, even if it is more lighthearted, even if it isn't as serious or as grounded as other things that we could be doing? Where is it that we can maintain that eternal student approach to life around, sometimes we get an F on a test and we look at where the universe marked up our test and we seek to do better next time, right? We remain open, we remain teachable, but also this can reflect inspiring a new perspective within others. You never know how an analogy that you give, a joke that you tell, a little bit of information that you share, you never know how that will inspire someone to view something differently. And that's where Gemini energy is so beautiful, around being courageous enough to share, to express yourself, to share your ideas, to give a voice to your thoughts. You never know how that will inspire other humans, and what a powerful gift that is to be in this experience and to have the ability to inspire other humans to pull out more from themselves, more courage, more depth, more authenticity, more commitment to themselves. You know, if you get a little bit of stage fright, Mercury Cazimi is kind of like step it up to the mic type energy. If you get stage fright before you hit post or before you call a friend or text someone, remember that you are a mouthpiece to the universe, and if your words can make someone's day, if they can share information with someone, if they can make someone laugh, if they can help someone distract from their life, this is a worthy pursuit. This is a worthy pursuit. So if you made it to the end of the forecast, we're actually going to do the microphone emoji. Drop the microphone emoji if you made it to the end, or utilize the word microphone within a sentence to let me know that you made it to the end. My Instagram handle is @HaleyCometAstrology. My TikTok is the same. I would so love to connect with you over there. And until we meet again, drink lots of water and stay cosmic.